Folks, gather around. It's time to talk about the good book, specifically Genesis. The first book, the OG, the one that started it all. Think of it as the ultimate prequel, like Star Wars Episode 1, but actually good. Genesis is basically a greatest hits album. Creation? Check. Adam and Eve? Check. Noah's Ark? Hold on, I gotta get my rubber ducky. Check. We've got drama, we've got romance, we've got talking snakes. What's not to love? It's the story of us, folks. Told with the kind of detail that would make a reality TV producer blush. So buckle up, Buttercup, because we're about to dive headfirst into the book of Genesis. And trust me, it's gonna be a wild ride. Genesis kicks off with a bang. Literally. God said, "Let there be light," and bam, there it was. Talk about an efficient contractor. No delays, no cost overruns, just pure, unadulterated light. Take that, Edison. In 6 days, God went on a creation spree. He separated the heavens from the earth, gathered the waters into seas, and sculpted some seriously impressive mountains. He even threw in some plants and animals, just for kicks. And on the seventh day, God took a well-deserved break. He looked at everything he had made and said, "It is good." And you know what? He was right. It was good. Really good. Like winning the lottery and finding a $20 bill in your pocket good. Next up, God created Adam. And let's be honest, he really outdid himself. I mean, this guy was the original masterpiece. But then, God, being the thoughtful type, decided Adam needed a companion. So he created Eve from Adam's rib. Talk about upcycling. Now these two were living the good life. They had it all. A beautiful garden, delicious food, and not a care in the world. But then, that snake had to go and mess things up. You see, this serpent, he was a smooth talker. He convinced Eve to take a bite of the forbidden fruit. And well, let's just say it was all downhill from there. Fast forward a few chapters, and things on Earth weren't looking so hot. The skies were dark and ominous, reflecting the turmoil below. People were up to all sorts of mischief, causing chaos and mayhem in every corner of the world. It was a time of great unrest, and God decided it was time for a do-over, a fresh start. But there was one problem. How do you get rid of all the bad stuff without, getting rid of everything? It was a delicate balance, a challenge that required a unique solution. Enter Noah, a righteous dude with a knack for shipbuilding and an uncanny ability to follow instructions. He was chosen for his integrity and his unwavering faith. God told Noah to build an ark, a massive boat big enough to fit 2 of every animal on Earth. This was no small task. It required meticulous planning and a lot of hard work. And I'm talking every animal: lions, tigers, bears, oh my. From the smallest insects to the largest mammals, every creature had a place on the ark. For 40 days and 40 nights, the rain came down in buckets. It was a relentless downpour, transforming the world into a vast, watery expanse. The ark bobbed and swayed on the waves, filled with the sounds of roaring lions, trumpeting elephants, and probably a whole lot of animal. Well, you get the idea. It was a floating zoo, a sanctuary amidst the storm. When the waters finally receded, Noah, his family, and all the animals disembarked, ready to start fresh. The world was cleansed, and a new chapter began. And that, my friends, is how we got rainbows. They are a symbol of hope and renewal, a promise of better days ahead. They're God's way of saying, don't worry, I'm not going to flood the earth again, probably. It's a reminder of the covenant, a sign of peace and assurance that the world will endure. Section 5. The Tower of Babel. Reaching for the stars, landing in a world of languages. After the flood, people started to rebuild. They were determined to create a new world, one that would stand the test of time and reach new heights. And rebuild they did, with such gusto that they decided to build a tower so high it would reach the heavens. This wasn't just any tower, it was a symbol of their unity and ambition. Talk about ambition. They figured, hey, if we can build a tower to heaven, we can be like God. They believed that this monumental structure would make them invincible and bring them closer to the divine. Not exactly the soundest logic, but hey, who am I to judge? Their confidence was sky high, literally and figuratively. They were so focused on their goal that they didn't see the potential consequences. Well, God saw what they were up to and thought, yeah, that's not gonna fly. He realized that their pride and ambition could lead to their downfall, so he did what any self-respecting deity would do. He mixed up their languages. Imagine the chaos. One moment, everyone is working in perfect harmony, and the next, they can't understand a word each other is saying. Suddenly, nobody could understand each other. It was like a massive game of broken telephone, but with much higher stakes. The confusion was palpable. and the once unified group was now a collection of individuals speaking different tongues. The Tower Project came to a screeching halt, and people scattered across the earth, speaking different languages. Their grand vision crumbled, and they had no choice but to abandon their ambitious project. And that, my friends, is why we have so many languages today. It's a fascinating story of how a single event can have such a profound impact on human history and culture. It's a testament to the power of communication, or rather miscommunication. The Tower of Babel reminds us that while our ambitions can drive us to achieve great things, they can also lead to unexpected outcomes. So, the next time you find yourself lost in translation, remember the story of the Tower of Babel and the lessons it holds. Section 6. Abraham and Sarah, a family blessed with laughter and a few miracles. Now let's talk about Abraham and Sarah, the original power couple. God promised them a son, even though they were, shall we say, past their prime. But hey, with God, nothing is impossible, right? Sarah, bless her heart, laughed when she heard the news. I mean, can you blame her? It's like winning the lottery after you've already thrown away the ticket. But guess what? Miracles happen. Sarah gave birth to Isaac, proving that it's never too late for a little divine intervention. Section 7. Isaac and Rebekah, a match made in, well, let's just say it's complicated. Isaac, all grown up, needed a wife, so Abraham sent his trusty servant on a mission to find the perfect match. And wouldn't you know it, the servant found Rebekah, a woman known for her kindness and beauty. Now this is where things get interesting. Rebekah's brother Laban was a bit of a character. He saw an opportunity to make a profit, and well, let's just say the negotiations for Rebekah's hand in marriage were more Pawn Stars than The Bachelor. But love, as they say, finds a way. Isaac and Rebekah got hitched, proving that even in biblical times, family drama was alive and well. Section 8. Jacob, Esau, and a bowl of stew. Sibling rivalry at its finest and funniest. Isaac and Rebekah had twin boys, Jacob and Esau. These two brothers couldn't have been more different, both in appearance and in personality. Esau, the hairy firstborn, was a man's man, a hunter and outdoorsman. He loved the thrill of the chase and the satisfaction of a successful hunt. Jacob, on the other hand, was more of a homebody, a mama's boy who liked to cook. He preferred the quiet life, staying close to the tents and learning the art of culinary delights. One day, Esau came home from a long day of hunting, famished and desperate for a meal. His stomach growled louder than a lion's roar, and he could barely stand from exhaustion. Jacob, being the ever-so-clever fellow he was, offered Esau a bowl of stew in exchange for his birthright. The aroma of the stew was irresistible, and Esau's mouth watered at the sight of it. Now, you'd think Esau would have learned a thing or two about making rash decisions, but nope. His hunger clouded his judgment, and he was too focused on satisfying his immediate need. He scarfed down that stew faster than you can say birthright, and just like that, Jacob had tricked his brother out of his inheritance. Esau's eyes widened in shock as he realized what he had done, but it was too late. The deed was done, and Jacob had secured his place as the rightful heir. Section 9. Joseph and his Technicolor Dreamcoat, from the pit to the palace. Fast forward a generation and we meet Joseph, Jacob's favorite son. And boy, oh boy, did this kid have a story to tell. His brothers, jealous of his fancy coat and prophetic dreams, sold him into slavery. Talk about sibling rivalry taken to a whole new level. But Joseph, being the resilient chap he was, rose through the ranks in Egypt, eventually becoming the Pharaoh's right-hand man. He saved Egypt from famine, reunited with his family who didn't even recognize him at first, and forgave his brothers for, selling him into slavery. Talk about a stand-up guy. Section 10. Lessons from the laughs, finding wisdom in Genesis's humor. So there you have it, folks. Genesis in a nutshell. It's a story filled with laughs, tears, and a whole lot of heart. But beyond the humor, there are some serious lessons to be learned. We learn about the importance of family, even when they drive us crazy. We learn about the power of forgiveness, even when it's hard. And most importantly, we learn that with God, all things are possible, even laughter in the face of adversity. Section 11, and the story continues. But the story of Genesis doesn't end there. It's a story that continues to unfold, generation after generation. It's a story that reminds us that we're all part of something bigger than ourselves. A grand cosmic narrative filled with hope, love, and yes, even a little bit of laughter. So next time you're feeling down, pick up a Bible and read Genesis. You might be surprised at how much laughter and wisdom you find within its pages. And hey, if nothing else, at least you'll have a good chuckle at the expense of a talking snake and a guy who sold his birthright for a bowl of stew.